Understanding the genetic code, understanding our genes, is changing the entire basis of medicine.
Craig Venter is not just a pioneering geneticist, he's also the experiment. The first human being to put all 6 billion letters of his genome in sequence.
If we printed out my genome at a reasonable font size so you could read it, it'd be a stack of papers higher than the Washington Monument.
With the genome mapped out, scientists are making breakthroughs every day about how our DNA plays a role in our overall health.
The U.S. Patent Office issued a one-sentence decree. You can patent anything in the world that's alive.
The Supreme Court of the United States ruled today that living organisms produced in the laboratory may be patented. This decision to extend
the U.S. Supreme Court had to decide was whether one man or one company should be able to control new forms of life.
We allow any company or college to exclusively own a species. What does that say about our reverence for life?
Researchers at Harvard manipulated the genes of mice, making their offspring more susceptible to cancer. They patented the Harvard mouse in the U.S., Europe, and Japan, then tried to do the same
battle
here.
that finally came to an end today. The Supreme Court of Canada ruled the genetically engineered mouse can't be patented.
Canadians don't think that life forms are inventions of industry like light bulbs and
scientists and drug companies search the planet for genes. Companies scouring the planet looking for valuable DNA, genes they can patent and sell. DNA.
It feels a lot like the Wild West. We've got bandits going around the world, collecting wherever they can, sometimes under false pretenses.
Because it's been so isolated, Newfoundland has a unique gene pool, and there's been so much interest from gene prospectors.
My genetic blueprint really has been taken away from me.
Instead of being the impartial pursuit of the truth, has become the pursuit of profit.
We've all been hearing about the announcement that we have mapped the human genome, but what the public doesn't know is now there's a great race by genomic companies and biotech companies and life science companies to find the treasure in the map. The treasure are the individual genes that make up the blueprint of the human race. Every time they capture a gene and isolate it, these biotech companies claim it as intellectual property. The breast cancer gene, the cystic fibrosis gene, it goes on and on and on. If this goes unchallenged in the world community, within less than 10 years, a handful of global companies will own directly or through license the actual genes that make up the evolution of our species, and they're now beginning to patent the genomes of every other creature on this planet.
Behold a holy grail of medical research, a beating heart created by scientists in a University of Minnesota laboratory.
We really have the audacity to claim to build a functional organ from scratch.
What we've done is hopefully open a door to the idea that we can actually begin to build not just pieces of tissue and organs, but build organs. It's really been science fiction in the past, and we'd like to think that we've helped make it science.
Three years ago, Lee Spivak sliced off the tip of his finger in the propeller of a hobby shop airplane. Spivak's brother Alan, a research scientist, sent him this special powder and told him to sprinkle it on the wound.
And I powdered it on until it was covered.
To his astonishment, every bit of his fingertip grew back.
Your finger grew back flesh, blood, vessels, and nail.
4 weeks.
In 4 weeks.
Right. Is this essentially what regrew Mr. Spivak's finger?
Yes, it is. We took this, turned it into a powdered form.
Dr. Stephen Badalik of the University of Pittsburgh says that powder, a substance made from pig bladders called extracellular matrix, holds some of the secrets behind the emerging new science of regenerative medicine.
It tells the body, start that process of tissue regrowth.
If this helps Mr. Spivak's finger regrow, could you grow a whole limb?
In theory.
Here you see a engineered blood vessel.
But there are advances in the science of regeneration that already go beyond theory.
You can actually see the vessel beating.
In this lab at Wake Forest University, a lab he calls a medical factory, Dr. Anthony Atala is growing body parts.
That's a heart valve. This is an engineered heart valve.
Atala and his team have built from the cell level up 18 different types of tissue so far, including muscle tissue, whole organs, and the pulsing heart valve of a sheep.
And is it growing? Absolutely. These cells are continuing to form new heart valve tissue. When people ask me, what do you do? We grow tissues and organs.
You really are making body parts.
We are making body parts that we can implant right back into patients.
Miniaturization, we're shrinking the size of technology at an exponential rate, both wired and wireless. These are some designs from Eric Drexler's book, which we're now showing are feasible with supercomputing simulations. Actually, there are scientists building molecule-scale robots. One has one that actually walks with a surprisingly human-like gait that's built out of molecules. There are little machines doing things in experimental basis. The most exciting opportunity is actually to go inside the human body and perform therapeutic and diagnostic functions. And this is less futuristic than it may sound. These things have already been done in animals. There's one nano-engineered device that cures type 1 diabetes. It's blood cell size. They put tens of thousands of these in the blood cell. They tried this in rats. Lets insulin out in a controlled fashion and actually cures type 1 diabetes. What you're watching is a design of a robotic red blood cell. And it does bring up the issue that our biology is actually very suboptimal, even though it's remarkable in its intricacy. Once we understand its principles of operation and the pace with which we're reverse engineering biology is accelerating, we can actually design these things to be thousands of times more capable. An analysis of this Respirosite, designed by Rob Freitas, indicates if you replace 10% of your red blood cells with these robotic versions, you could do an Olympic sprint for 15 minutes without taking a breath. You could sit at the bottom of your pool for 4 hours. So, honey, I'm in the pool will take on a whole new meaning. It'll be interesting to see what we do in our Olympic trials. Presumably we'll ban them, but then we'll have the specter of teenagers in their high school gyms routinely outperforming the Olympic athletes. Freitas has a design for a robotic white blood cell. We will have 2 to the 25th power greater price performance capacity and bandwidth of these technologies, which is pretty phenomenal. It will be millions of times more powerful than it is today. We'll have completed the reverse engineering of the human brain. $1,000 of computing will be far more powerful than the human brain in terms of basic raw capacity. Computers will combine the subtle pattern recognition powers of human intelligence with ways in which machines are already superior in terms of doing analytic thinking, remembering billions of facts accurately. Machines can share their knowledge very quickly. But it's not just an alien invasion of intelligent machines. We are going to merge with our technology. They'll also go inside our brain, interact with our biological neurons. We've demonstrated the key principles of being able to do this.